When I was about 4 years old, my grandmother on my dad's side told me that I was adopted and that my mom, Angelique, was not my real mother. This is one of my first memories of lived harm, and it connects to a larger pattern of abuse and harassment that has followed me throughout my life. Shortly after this, my dad disappeared out of our lives, or that is what we thought. Instead, my dad has been in the background watching and controlling our lives with the help of countless others. On May 17th, 2025, the next door neighbor screamed into my bedroom window, "I have a gun and I'm ready to use it." On June 17th, 2025, 3 days before my birthday, there was a drive-by at our house. A person in the back seat pointed a BB gun at me and my grandmother and shot at her. My dad goes by the name Junior, making June itself feel like a symbolic reference to him. On June 22nd, my birthday, 2 dead animals were found on my grandma's property in Michigan. My grandma doesn't live in Michigan. We used the home for certain weeks throughout the year. Through surveillance, they knew we would be there on my birthday. The ultimate goal of many family members is to relocate me, my mom, and my grandma to Michigan, a quiet and secluded area where the plan was to physically harm us. In high school, a friend who adults placed in my life as a setup sent a video in our group chat where a doll was hanging from the ceiling with a rope around its neck. The doll was swinging in circles. Our friendship ended the next day. This same person posted pictures on Snapchat titled "Crime Scene Photos." These were photos of her and her cousin lying on the ground as if deceased. On August 13th, 2025, we were in Michigan and someone blew off fireworks at our bedroom window while we were sleeping. This happened in the middle of the night. While in grammar school, we took a trip to Florida where one of my mom's brothers lives. Her brother told us that his house is haunted because someone was murdered in the room we slept in. He also said that was why he was able to afford the house. Otherwise, he would not have been able to afford it. He repeatedly made references to me being pure. He also stated that when females cannot compete with a female, they will ruin her reputation. He said it is easy for women to get men to do what they want. His oldest son made a comment to us and said he would never date a woman who does not have a degree. These comments were directed at me. We have reason to believe that there are plans to force us to relocate to Michigan. We believe my grandpa was not included in this relocation plan because there were separate plans to harm him during his surgery that was scheduled for December 5th, 2025, the day after my dad's birthday. The reason they wanted to harm him is because he has an active lawsuit ongoing for 6 years, and they did not want him to receive the settlement money. I believe this was not carried out because of the documentation my mom and I were preparing, and because they knew we were planning to expose the crime to Erica Kirk at Turning Point. This needs to be investigated immediately. Meanwhile, Empist has been cyberstalking and surveilling our family's every move, adjusting their actions based on what we do. They were put up to doing this by my mom's former workplace, the law offices of Gunty and McCarthy. They also have lasers on our house and are on every electronic device. Someone from T-Mobile is giving away our passwords. This has to be someone higher up. This has been ongoing for way more than a decade. My dad, along with my mom's siblings, all need to be investigated. 2 days after my mom and I left home for a road trip to Turning Point, USA in Arizona, a sewage blockage happened at the house on December 15th, 2025. The landlord is one of my mom's brothers, and the timing and correlations are too precise to ignore. The day before, while we stayed one night at the Green Mill Village Hotel in Illinois, a worker set off the red fire alarm in our room twice, smirking when questioned. This happened around 6:40 a.m. on December 14th, 2025. On April 4th, 2025, my mom's car window was smashed. This happened the day after she told one of the partners at the firm that she will get into the FBI building. Through surveillance, people were also aware that she was looking to sell the car right away, so they wanted to bring the value of the car down. After this incident, 3 of my grandma's tires were slashed. These acts of damage and job loss were intended to cause financial hardship and force us to move to Michigan in the long run. Before I was illegally dismissed from the nursing program, a total of 50 cans of tuna fish was sent to our residence. We also received tons of packages of dog treats, which were chicken sticks. Over time, we realized that the chicken on the stick was a reference to chick on a stick. There were references to psychopaths being made at my mother's former workplace and at DePaul University. Everyone knew what was going on. No one stopped it. They allowed it. They encouraged it. And someone with money is funding it. The FBI needs to investigate this, as too many people are invested in protecting themselves and child. This includes a judicial system. My mom was let go from the firm on April 3rd, 2025. 5 months later, I was illegally dismissed from DePaul University's nursing program despite active complaints with the Department of Education and the Illinois Board of Nursing, who assigned case numbers, then disappeared. I only attended 1 day of school when the Dean of Students, who was also the Title IX coordinator, and the head of nursing targeted me. They were both included in my complaint to the Department of Education. They had no fear of what they were doing. They took a bribe and had to follow through with stealing my education, my tuition for almost 3 years, and the president of DePaul University allowed this. He allowed professors and students to harass me every day. DePaul University is supposed to be the largest Catholic institution. Their actions are far from Catholic. God wants this exposed, and Erica Kirk, I know that you are going to be the one to help do this. Professor Nedgel called a thermometer a gun when my lab partner placed it to her head. A student wrote, "Either live or die," and "purple your choice" on my lab report. Professor Lee said twice in class, "What do you do when you get kicked out of college? You go into comedy." After my dismissal, my grandpa's surgery was scheduled for December, and then the same month, the house had a major sewage problem right after we left for our road trip to Turning Point, USA. Again, December is the month of my dad's birthday. Also, my mom recalls that after her relationship ended with my dad, at some point he admitted over the phone that he broke the pipe in the home we lived in at the time. This happened around 2008 to 2009 or so. Due to the pipe break and many other issues, we ended up moving out of the house. My mom's dad told her, "You know, Junior wanted to kill you." Once my grandpa said this to my mom, my grandma's phone went off with the sound, "doo-doo-doo-doo-doo." Empist set my grandma's phone off. When my parents were together and I was little, he chased her in the house with a knife. He actually put the knife to my mom's throat. He only stopped because my mom had a phone with a walkie-talkie and used it to get her dad's attention. That is when he stopped. At DePaul University, Professor Nedgel gave an example using the name Reuben, my dad's name, also known as Junior, and said that he was a butcher. The reference to butcher is interesting, as if she was signaling who was behind the start of this ongoing crime and the intended outcome. Professor Nedgel also said in class that his wife's name is Sue. Sue is one of the partners' names at my mom's former workplace. Professor Nedgel was clearly letting us know how far back this goes. My dad, or someone he knew, went to my mom's workplace where the crime became bigger with premeditation, organized crime, corruption, and fraud. At DePaul University, professors made references to bloody murder and being chased by a killer. One student made a reference to her deathbed. Another student said, "When I die, release my whole camera roll." My mom's former workplace purposely laid her off in order to control her finances. See the complaint and read the emails for further details. This is exactly why DePaul University illegally dismissed me. They want to control what we can and can't have. Anyone who comes into contact with us is immediately contacted to stay away. They don't want us to have any alliances and to make it harder for us to get help. These people are not only blacklisting us, but paying people off to participate. People feel secure in participating because the judges are corrupt. They know Judge Harjani, who was brought in, was bribed. And in order for him to be a judge, he had to agree to go against us if we ever filed suit. The only reason why Judge Harjani became a judge was because his first name is Sunil. We get harassed with the word son for son. This was already documented in our complaint when we filed. In 2023, when my mom was trying to understand what was happening, she spoke with her brother Raymond. During those conversations, Raymond asked her whether she believed that her son was the mastermind. He mentioned that he found his behavior to be strange and weird. Over time, it began to seem as though Raymond was misleading my mom as his own behavior became questionable. The situation increasingly suggested that Raymond himself was the mastermind, and now the focus is shifting towards my dad as well. Around this time, my mom's brother Eric asked her whether my brother was in contact with his father. This was a random question and odd for him to even ask, considering that our dad has been out of our lives for several years. The way Eric phrased the question made it seem like he was shifting the focus onto my dad and to get us to start thinking about him. An investigation can only determine who started this and the extent of the crime. Eric also told us that Renee, the half-sister of Eric, and my mom moved from California to Texas. When my mom Googled her, it still shows she resides in California. They chose Texas because they are known to wear cowboy boots out there. Many people I know and didn't know, from grammar through high school or their friends, started posting boots and odd conversations that we knew were in reference to us being kicked out of the house, school, and having to relocate. We knew their plan as it was being put out there on social media. We also noticed that when my mom was able to access Renee's Instagram account in 2024, not before then, it was public. After reviewing it, Renee closed it. She closed it because they wanted us to pick up on that she was well aware we viewed it. At my mom's former workplace, she noticed that the office manager's son was posting photos that mimicked her own photos that were taken of her many years ago. The person who took these photos is someone my mom knew in grammar school. Around 2018 or so, this person called my mom out of nowhere and asked her if she was okay. My mom asked why, and this person replied she had a dream that my mom died. In 2024, my mom's brother Raymond and my mom's co-workers started correlating. Raymond started using the word dream and then used nightmare. Another co-worker did the same. When my mom was on the phone with Raymond, another co-worker seemed to consistently knock on her door when she was on the phone with him when she wasn't doing this before. We have reason to believe that Raymond was deliberately misleading us and that when he referred to the mastermind, he was actually referring to my father all along. This was supposed to be a shock to us and revealed only when my dad came around. Regarding the Michigan property, we believe someone has keys to the property and has been accessing the house for years. We suspect that Raymond may have given a set of keys either to my father or to a neighbor, allowing them to enter the property to steal and vandalize. We further believe that my father may intend to use those keys to access the house unexpectedly. This situation needs to be investigated, as too many family members appear to be participating and accountability is necessary. Furthermore, when there is reference to murder or Empist buffs our TVs and phones. In my senior year of high school, Eric, my mom's brother, told us over the phone that my mom's dad was by his father and to take that to the grave. What he said was untrue. What he was doing was foreshadowing their plans of what they want to happen to us. Eric also told my mom and I a story that my mom's cousin was by her brother. He also said that the family felt she deserved it because of the way she dressed. This needs to be investigated. Eric also told us that my mom's dad murdered someone by stabbing him in the back with a knife. He also said that he never got caught. This is not true. During one Christmas, when we played trivia and went into teams, my mom's brother Raymond and his now wife Nancy nicknamed themselves the Backstabbers. On September 10th, 2025, we submitted a request asking the court to consider reassignment of our matter to the Honorable Virginia M. Kendall or to any district judge with comparable expertise in child exploitation, trauma-informed adjudication, and systemic reform. That motion was denied. On December 31st, 2025, Judge Kendall signed a routine filing that was distributed to many plaintiffs and entered on January 1st, 2026. It stood out to us because we had previously requested her for reassignment and because this filing became docket number 31, a number that has repeatedly appeared as a harassment marker in our case. The overlap raises serious questions about correlation and patterning that cannot be ignored. This judge needs to be investigated. There are also too many references to the number 21. We have reason to believe their plan is to have most of their plans completed by the time I turn 21, including causing lethal harm to myself. There are also many references to the number 50. When I was in grammar school, I was purposely given the jersey number 21. My grammar school was well aware and allowed it. I also went to an all-female Catholic high school. In my senior year, for the first time, there was a male placed in my class from the all-male Catholic school next door. We have reason to believe that the principal and administrators purposely set this up. I remember my friend purposely bringing this particular boy up to me and luring me to his social media in freshman year. Immediately, I knew to stay away from him senior year when I saw him in my class. When I was reviewing my classmates' social media at the time, my mom noticed he was mocking a picture of hers from a dormant Facebook account that she had. He titled it 21 Jump Street and wrote something that only my mom's dad knew. When she started to question my dad is when we began noticing that personal family stories were being repeated by my classmates. This actually started in grammar school. In Michigan, Raymond and Nancy put a mirror in the bedroom where not only they stay when they come up, but where we stay as well. I find it interesting that the mirror is divided into 21 pieces. On December 31st, 2025, my mom received an odd email from Vanguard referencing the year 2021. It took 12 hours before another email was sent out correcting the date to 2026. At my mom's former workplace, two of her coworkers asked her if she was 50 years old. This was not a casual question. It tied directly into the recurring references to the number 50 that we have documented. Professors at DePaul University also made references to family members' names, the number 50, and murder. These were not isolated comments, but part of a broader pattern of intimidation and symbolic harassment that connects back to the numeric markers we have been tracking. On our complaint, we placed a visibility seal for Christina's Law to ensure transparency and prevent suppression. Despite this safeguard, Judge Harjani sealed the complaint anyway. This action demonstrates deliberate participation in obstructing our case and preventing public oversight. The sealing was not justified by national security, trade secrets, or child protection concerns. And this act needs to be investigated as judicial misconduct. Judge Harjani then proceeded to deny our motions and dismissed our first amended complaint. We have reason to believe there are plans of committing murder against my mom, her dad, her mom, and myself. Many people are aware and they all need to be held accountable. Covering up a child exploitation matter is a crime within itself, and those who participate in harassment, suppression, or concealment are complicit in the harm. Judicial misconduct of this magnitude cannot be ignored and must be fully investigated. These judges are setting a dangerous precedent that you can harm a child as long as you pay them off. This needs to be stopped now. Someone I know in Michigan posted on her Instagram account a picture of her and two friends in a shower. She put in the title, "NDAs were signed." She also did a reference to the name Ray and a granny doll. We were friends when we were very little, and out of nowhere, she stopped talking to me. I never understood why, but now I know. In fact, many adults knew and did nothing, and so did their kids. I want to expose them all. When I was a very little girl, other little girls were put up to touching me inappropriately, and another child asked me to perform sexual acts on her. We were little, and I didn't understand what was happening. Adults put these children up to doing this. One of the girls would take videos of herself sitting on the toilet and would always want her online cartoon character to be naked. In 2024, my mom's brother, Mike, came over to the house and he screamed out loud 3 times. He did this on purpose because he knew what happened to me, although he wouldn't have known. He knew this because he was part of the exploitation. The timing of him doing this was because the hackers were exposing themselves to my mom and myself. Mike also asked my mom's dad if his monitor could be hacked into. We knew that Mike wanted their dad to pick up on what they were doing. At the time, we were also questioning if a family member placed hidden cameras in our bathroom. We know that for years, we were watched through the camera lens on our televisions. In high school, 2 boys from the same all-male Catholic high school were put up to contacting me. It turned out that both were gay, and my classmates showed awareness of their contact with me. When my mom made a complaint to the dean on one of these students, he denied knowing me. I showed proof of contact. In the summer of 2023, the cable company was adamant that they needed to come into the house to change out our cable boxes. My grandma felt that was weird because they were persistent in having this done. My mom and I were not at home when the cable guy came to the house. When we returned home, my grandpa kept saying that the cable guy seemed very nervous. He said that he was adamant about going into Christina's room to set up her cable. This cable person put the number 3 on her desk in her room. This was the only room that was numbered, and he numbered it with a number we have documented as harassment in the complaint. When we realized we were hacked, we covered the top left and the top right of the screen to block the camera. On New Year's Day 2024, my mom's cable on her television wouldn't work. The cable company said they tried to reset it, but it didn't work. They were then adamant that they had to return to the home to look at the box. This did not seem right to my mom, so she no longer wanted the cable. Almost 2 weeks later, the same thing happened to my grandma's bedroom television. She also had the tape on to block the camera. The cable company, again, wanted to come back into the house. My grandma felt something was wrong because in the past, whenever the cable acted up, the cable company was always able to reset it. My grandma ended up canceling her cable with the sound and returned the boxes. The televisions in the Michigan home are also hacked. The cable company in Michigan is Direct TV. My mom's brother Raymond and now wife Nancy gifted my mom a television many years ago for Christmas. We believe they did this because they wanted a television with a camera lens and apps for downloading. This was so that she could be watched in her bedroom. Raymond also installed a Ring camera onto the residence. When my mom questioned why he did this, he said because Nancy wanted to watch him. This made no sense security-wise because she did not live at the residence and shouldn't have access to the people who do live there. The Ring was installed to further surveillance us and forward out to the public without our knowledge. At one point, my mom questioned Raymond when he no longer lived there if he or Nancy still had access to the Ring camera. We noticed that the daughter of the office manager at my mom's previous workplace repeated a conversation we had on her social media account. My mom recalls a conversation she had with her half-sister Renee many years ago. Renee shared some private stories that we are not sure are true or if she was foreshadowing. Renee stopped talking to my mom around 2016 or so. There was no reason for Renee to stop talking to her. Around this time, my my mom started to notice odd changes in coworkers' behavior as well as people outside of work. In 2024, when we realized Renee was participating in this, there were several neighbors that set off fireworks for a while around our home. It was planned and it was carried out. This does not include all the harm caused for more than 10 years of surveillance, sabotage, control, blacklisting, psychological warfare, grooming, and exploitation of myself from a child to an adult, my brother, and many other children. This also includes my mom and my grandparents. Our lives have been invaded by people who feel they are above the law and are willing to take their crimes to another level. This is the truth, and this is my story. Investigate these people. Ruben Jimenez, aka Jr., my dad, his family lives on 26th and Pulaski. He may live in Cicero or Berwyn. Eric and Anna Hernandez and family. They live in Claremont, Florida. Michael Hernandez. He lives in Berwyn, Illinois. Raymond and Nancy Guerrero, now Hernandez. They live in Lombard, Illinois. Renee Brazo and Eric Brazo and family. They live in California. United States District Court for the Northern District of Illinois, Eastern Division, judges. The law offices of Gunty and McCarthy, located at 150 South Wacker Drive, Suite 2500, Chicago, Illinois 60666. Empist, headquartered in Chicago. CEO with T-Mobile, Astound Cable, DirecTV, Budget, DePaul University, Mother Macaulay High School, Chicago, St. John Fisher School, Chicago, EEOC, IDHR, Department of Education, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Board of Nursing, 8th District Police Station in Chicago, police at the FBI Chicago Field Office, COPA, BIA, Illinois Attorney General's Office, Inspector General's Office, Academy of Self-Defense, Chicago Public Library, Neighbors in Chicago, Neighbors in Michigan, and many more.